The just concluded protests over economic hardship was an eye-opener for us as a country. Now, the call for a military intervention that dogged the protests continues to dominate the headlines. Well, we'll have more on this topic in just a moment. Stay with us.
Conference is holding this year in Uyo. With the arrival of the host governor, the conference kick-started. As he takes the podium, Governor Eno commended the Nigerian Army and other security agencies for their commitment to the peace and security of the state and the nation. He advises them to remain apolitical, as he says his administration in the past donated 100 million naira to widows of fallen heroes in the state to improve their lives.
As the army of our great nation, your role in securing the nation is paramount, and the government is to do all that is possible to ensure that the army is well equipped. That is why we created the Joint Maritime Operations Task Force and procured and deployed 14 patrol gunboats in response to the literal nature of our state and the threat posed by sea pirates, militants, and kidnappers within our waterways.
Then, the Chief of Army Staff, during his speech, noted that food and social security issues can result in physical security challenges. He stated that the Nigerian Army, under his leadership, has launched several welfare programs for members of the force. The Army Chief states the commitment of the force to boost food availability in the country by supporting the federal government in its economic prosperity plan.
The Nigerian Army will not allow itself to be used to undemocratically sell some interest to power. As a service that received the most image bashing as a fallout of previous military interventions in Nigeria, the Nigerian Army is now poised to losing the new prestige it has painstakingly built in the past 25 years.
3 beneficiaries received checks under the welfare scheme of the force, and the week-long event will climax on Friday with a closing ceremony. Miriam Daniels, TVC News, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State.
Welcome back. You're still on to Journalist Hangout. A while ago, you just saw the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, reacting to the concerns about military intervention, and he was saying the army will not succumb to calls to disrupt democratic governance in the country. Well, General Lagbaja said that Nigerian Army is still struggling to restore its integrity after many years of military rule. Hence, it is not ready to lose its prestige built in the past 25 years of staying out of power. BKO, let's get your thoughts on this statement credited to the Chief of Army Staff against the backdrop of calls for military takeover. What do you make of this?
I think that the Chief of Army Staff chose the right occasion, the occasion of the conference, the quarterly conference, Chief of Army Staff conference, to let Nigerians know that in spite of the pressure from misguided people, many of whom have not experienced military rule in their lives, they know nothing about military rule, that they would not be swayed. During the looting spree in some parts of northern Nigeria, because I would not call looting protests. When people gather simply to loot, it's not a protest. During the looting spree, some people were calling for military intervention. Some were even waving the flag of Russia, which some people try to mislead us that, oh, it's actually the flag of the Nigerian forces. We are not fools. Some of those people even granted interviews where they were calling for intervention by Russia. So don't deceive yourself that it is Nigerian Armed Forces flag that they were carrying. We know what the Nigerian Armed Forces flag looks like. A Nigerian Forces flag without the colors of the Nigerian Army which is green. What kind of Nigerian Armed Forces flag is that? The Nigerian Army is the biggest of the armed forces. Yet their own color is not represented in what you called, I mean, ignorant people coming on social media to further to mislead the Nigerian people. Remember, before the inauguration of this administration, some misguided young people went to the Ministry of Defense to ask for military rule. Again, you cannot blame people who are in their diapers when the military was in charge in Nigeria. Some of us lost our friends. Bagada Kalto was a man who was in the same zone with me at the news magazine. We used to sit down, do editorial meetings. He would bring ideas, I would write. Sunday, the former Minister of Sports, was also one of us. He was in Jos, I was in Kano. Bagada was in Kaduna. He was wasted during the military rule. They didn't just waste civilians, they wasted their own colleagues through phantom coups and other hook up coups and go and waste people. If a general does not like you, they can accuse you of plotting a coup. You add your name to the list. The military destroyed itself by venturing into the murky waters of politics. They don't want that anymore. Those misguided people trying to get the military to get involved in politics, they should be ashamed of themselves. They should sit down. Have they seen what it looks like? They say, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. I just get it.
Some people locked up in jail, they never recovered. They suffered mental ailment as a result of that. Our colleagues, journalists, were routinely being thrown into jail. Some tortured to death. And some little boys and girls will sit down and will be calling for military. What do you know about military rule? The same way you know so little about your country because you don't read. You don't know about military rule. The election may not have gone the way you wanted it. But all you need to do is be patient. Time is a gentleman.
Right.
4 years will soon be upon us. Use your vote to remove the government that you don't like, not to stupidly call for military rule. Well, I'm happy that the soldiers are not going to be misled. They said, no, we are happy where we are. We are in a good place. Don't try to lure us into politics. They were shouting in Kano and other places, Kumu Keso, Molkin Soldier Mokeso is the military rule that we want. It is you. When they see soldiers in their trucks, they will say, Kumu Keso, it's you that we want. And I was just looking at those boys. Some of them, maybe they were high on drugs. So, I'm happy with what General Lagbaja has said, and he chose the right occasion.
Right.
We don't want military rule. The military killed my friend, Bagauda Kalto. We know that. They killed themselves too. Some of them could not stay in Nigeria the moment power changed. Some of them, like Colonel Omenka, they ran away. Omenka was fond of boasting that he would waste people. In fact, that was where I had the word waste being used to describe killing someone. Frank Omenka was torturing people mindlessly inside the DMI cell here in Lagos. I mean, people who did not, they did not even read about that era. It's not in their habit to read. Many people, even journalists.
It's very unfortunate.
There are so many unreading journalists today. And that's why you come and demonstrate a false sentiment on TV and other places, because their worldview is a shrinking one. Why won't your worldview be shrinking when you choose not to nourish yourself by reading? You know? Indeed,
we have a lot to do
if people read,
sensitizing our young ones.
They will know that a military rule is not an ideal situation.
Right.
Or a police state. We don't want a police state. What Kagame has in Rwanda is a police state. Nobody can publicly come and say, look, Mr. President, you are useless, or we don't want to. You won't live to see the next day. In Nigeria, it's easier to abuse the president than to abuse the local government chairman. Because the local government chairman will send his talks after you. Tinubu will not send talks after you. They will be looking at you. And you abuse him. They go on TikTok, they abuse him. The freedom that people have on social media, if the military comes to power, they will take away that freedom. Honestly. I mean, these guys are kidding. They don't know what they're talking about. Indeed. They will take away that freedom.
Indeed, like you said, be careful what you wish for. Oh. If I would recollect that.
They won't get it this time.
Absolutely. But you know, let me just say amen in this regard. Yeah. But you know what, beyond this now, beyond what we are praying not to happen, what concrete strategies would you think can be employed now to counter this perception, or this clamor rather, for military takeover, especially among young Nigerians?
It's already being done.
Beyond
the Chief of Army Staff,
rhetoric.
The Chief of Army Staff spoke.
Right.
I think people have to be enlightened. One of the problems we have in this country is people don't have a sense of history. BK just, it's like he just expressed my thoughts. You understand? The people that are being put up to this are the Gen Z. Can we now begin to tell them? We must tell them about Bagadakato that you mentioned. We must tell them about the alleged state-sponsored killings. Kudira Tabiola, Paafe Riwani, Harry Marshall. We must tell them about the Decree 4 of 1984 that was applied retroactively to jail 2 journalists, Tunde Thompson and Uduka Erabo, just because they wrote an exclusive story about reshufflement of ambassadors. We must tell them. BK will talk about what's the big deal about BK will talk about even soldiers being killed. Have they read about Mama Vasta?
Yes.
That intellectual soldier that was killed, that was, over a so-called coup.
Phantom coup
by IBB, his friend. Do they know that there will be a serious clampdown on social media if there is military? Do they know that there is no National Assembly to perform an oversight function under a military rule? Do they know that decrees are promulgated based on the whims and caprices of... Do they understand?
Replace the Constitution.
No more Constitution, no National Assembly. Do they know that you can't just speak anyhow against... Do they understand that military president, or what they call... Okay, one call himself a president, about IBB. Have they heard about Abacha? The man who wanted to even transport himself to a civilian president, and he bullied 5 political parties into adopting him. And Bola called those 5 political parties 5 fingers of a leprous hand. They don't understand anything.
Do they even know who Bola is?
All they do on the social media is to be abusing. And they'll be doing TikTok and be displaying curves and curvatures and be talking nonsense. That's all they know. Look, if you want to, let's tell people that the best way to change a government you don't like is through
the ballot.
The ballot. If you think you're not satisfied, there's no denying that there's economic hardship. Let's get in. See, we must be able to treat things differently. There's economic hardship. If you feel very strongly that this government needs to be changed, you are entitled to your opinion. But you must change this government through a legal means. And I think we need to start talking. Honestly, I think this government should develop some more political will.
Right.
Who are the people putting up these young people to it? The other time I was here, Citizens was anchoring. We talked about this protesting, that we should not treat people with kid gloves. People were holding Russian flags. They were even chanting the name of Putin.
Yes.
The name of the Russian president. And you think that is just something we should overlook?
Come and tell us that, no, it's Nigerian Armed Forces flag.
Simply because you are disgruntled. You can be disgruntled, but it should not get to the point where you begin to call for a military takeover or calling on a foreign government to take over. What in the,
come and rescue us.
There was protest in Britain, you understand, over a little boy who lost his senses and killed people. Some people were even thinking that it was people from a religion that did it. And they started, I didn't hear anybody say Russia should come and take over, or France should come and take over, or US should come and take over. Why are we talking like, why are we behaving like this? We know that there is hardship in this country. Everybody admits it. You understand? We can disagree with the methods of the government. We can disagree with the policies. We can have a robust discussion. about that. And we have been doing that here. Where we need to praise government, we praise government. Where we need to blame government, we blame government. And let the narrative continue. You understand? But to call anybody calling for a military takeover is a criminal. I should be treated as such. The government should go after. This is what the DSS knows.
Subversion.
Yes, subversion. Now, government should go after people who are putting up these young people to it.
No, the good thing is at least the people behind the sewing of the Russian flag.
Yes,
been arrested.
yes,
Yes, all of them have been arrested. Now, a lot of the looters were arrested and people are calling looters protesters. How do you call looters protesters? Did they not arrest people, such people in the UK too? In Liverpool and other places where people looted shops in the name of protest, they were also arrested.
That's how it should be now.
Dozens of them were arrested. And they where people blocked roads that people should use, where they blocked roads, in the UK, they were arrested. If you arrest them in Nigeria, they will politicize it. Nobody has the right to make life difficult for another person in the name of protest. You have no right. If I must rush my wife to hospital, you must not block the road because you are protesting. You have the right to protest as much as I have the right to not protest. This is what they don't talk about. They always tell us, oh, the right to protest is enshrined in the Constitution. But the Constitution also outlines limitations to the exercise of those rights. And every lawyer properly trained should know this, though many of them don't talk about it. Lawyers who are telling us that if you do not score 25% in Abuja, you are not eligible to be president. And we asked them, okay, show us one parallel across the world. Which country in the world would draft that kind of constitution? That a tiny portion of your country must win before you can be president. So if somebody was fortunate, one powerful candidate wins 36 states and he didn't win Abuja because Abuja had a very strong candidate that the people rallied and voted for. He didn't get 25% there. So that person is not qualified to be president. I mean, the level of pedestrian thinking that we saw in 2023, may God never get us to see such level of banal thinking again. Because even people that we respected in the not euphoria now, just buffeted by their inner desire to show a lack of objectivity. They started telling us you must have 25% in Abuja. Even after Supreme Court ruled on it, some of them are still talking about it today. I have a friend who is based abroad, he's still talking about it, and I look at him and I say, look, you lost all the respect that I have for you because where you are based, they also practice democracy. And there's no portion of their law that says you must win one tiny state before you can be president.
You know, the issue that still stares us in the face is governance, which many Nigerians are saying that we are yet to get. But still, these concerns are part of what needs to be addressed. If at all we are to say the military should stay in the barracks.
Whether we suffer from misrule
or not,
maladministration or not, nothing should ever make people think that the military is the option. For a thinking person, somebody who can engage his thinking faculty efficiently, should never think that the military, no matter what we are going through, because even this hardship we are talking about now is a very recent thing. At least the level of hardship that we're going through now is very recent. Hardship had been there since for so long. Even Sonia Ade sang about hardship 40 years ago. Issue the win one, Agbado, Sierra Lodja, in Sonia Ade. He sang it. Òṣìṣẹ́ ò lè jẹun kánú, ṣiṣẹ́ tún wá dàbí ọ̀lẹ.
That age-long thing.
Yes. Sonia Ade sang about it more than 40 years ago. Hardship is not a new thing. Right. The level of hardship that we are going through now, I, Babajide Otitoju, will say yes, is of a higher level. That is the truth. If we say it, we'll still die one day. If we don't say it, we'll still die. The level of hardship is much higher, I admit. But it should never push anyone
into calling for a military takeover.
Capable of thinking constructively to say the military is the
answer.
Is the answer. No. And it's not only in Nigeria that people are facing hardship. Are they not facing hardship in Kenya? Why did they have to protest? In the course of their protest, did they call for military rule? Did you see them waving the flag of Russia? Did you see them? I saw. And those guys, their masters are protesting. And they are very well organized. They didn't do the way we do it, that they said 2 days a week, so that in the course of protest, they can also work and earn a living. But I didn't see them waving Russian flag, that somebody is deceiving himself that it is Nigerian Armed Forces flag. You know?
Paul,
I didn't see them.
Your final thoughts?
I think we should make history very compulsory in the schools, honestly. If we go back into history, the military rule has never corrected whatever imperfections you find in the civil rule. You understand what I'm saying? In 1966, whatever excuses the military had, they couldn't do it. You see, we had litany of coups.
They set us back.
They set us back. And then when we came back to democracy, you had Alhaji Shehu Shagari. Okay, he was being accused of corruption, this, that. Military took over and still set us back.
Was military not corrupt? Who has stolen money? The way Abacha has stolen money.
In other words, Abacha needs to have history.
Who has stolen money? Where Abacha has stolen money?
Military rule is not a solution to misgovernance.
It's not.
The way yes, we can protest against misgovernance. We can change a government that does not govern well, but there is a way to do it. It can never be through military takeover. It can never. We must never have that in this country. But BK said, be careful what you wish for.
Absolutely.
You might just get it. You will not get it this time in this country, in the name of Jesus.
Okay, let's move on.
We will not get it in Jesus' name.
Our own spirits will not allow them.
We're moving on to our next topic now. Now, the crisis rocking the Labour Party is deepening, and